Thank you, Chairwoman. The resolution in front of you today is in support of tenants who've had issues with their property management and maintenance. It requests that LMHA terminate its current contract and services with the CT Group LLC or CT Associates Inc. or any subsidiaries or assignees currently responsible for managing and maintaining Louisville Metro Housing Authority properties at LMHA's earliest lawful opportunity, and to cease to further contract with this company. It also requests that LMHA attempt to limit the effect of any cancellation of services by offering LMHA positions to frontline staff from the CT Group that assisted LMHA to manage and maintain its properties. That's what this resolution is. During our committee, we'll hear from who this resolution supports and why this resolution is necessary. We'll also talk with the director of the Housing Authority, but we'll start with residents first, if that's okay, Chairwoman. And as the residents come up, I just want to remind committee members and the public that their statements and complaints, as well as letters of support, are attached to the agenda with the resolution. Residents, when you come up, please state your names for the record and the name of the property that you live or lived in, managed by CT Group. And I'll also have a couple of videos of residents who couldn't be with us here today.
Yes. Councilman Arthur, we asked them, since we have so many, each person just speak 2 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. You have the first person that's going to speak.
Darren Chambers.
Darren Chambers. Okay, so could we have the first person that's going to speak come to the podium?
Madam Chair, they are at the podium.
They are what? Well, could they speak their name and tell us their complaint?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we can't see them.
Yes, ma'am. Hi. My name is Giovanna Jones, and I am a current resident of Liberty Green. We are calling on Metro Council to support us to cancel the contract of one of the worst property managers in the city and take these properties under LMHA management and union maintenance staff. For 6 months, Lisa Osanka has ignored us as we've told her time and time again that we don't feel safe and secure in our homes. The campaign is to cancel the contract based on 4 problem areas. We do not get receipts. This is also when we pay rent. This is a clear violation of HUD's generally accepted accounting principles as noted in the HUD's letter to Lisa Osanka in 2021, which you all have a copy of, about CT Group not giving receipts to tenants. We also have documented cases where CT Group adds late charges on our rent if we voice concerns about management. If Lisa Osanka knew about this in 2021, why is it still happening? Maintenance enters our apartments without notice. This is a clear violation of the Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act. There's a lack of proper maintenance. We have documented mold and maintenance issues that go without repair for months and sometimes years. Retaliation against tenants. We've documented years of extreme retaliation against tenants who speak out about these issues. Many of us have experienced our paperwork coming up missing and harassment and intimidation by staff. Tenant union leader Ms. Emma Linton received a 30-day notice to vacate after she spoke at our press conference on August 19th. Per legal review, LMHA can cancel the contract with the CT Group at any time. They have violated not only their contract with LMHA and state law, but also their leases with the LMHA tenants, saying that they must maintain the sites in good condition.
Ma'am, I hate to stop you, but are you speaking for everybody? Because we have 10 speakers, so each person has to have only 2 minutes.
I'm so sorry, Madam Chairwoman. That's my fault. I tried to get to the mic quick enough. We need 3 minutes per person. We don't have 10 heads. We have fewer than 10. So it still fits within the 20-minute parameter. And if need be, we might want like 2 or 3 minutes of our Q&A time to use, if need be.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
If you don't have 10, we'll fit right into the agenda.
Thank you. We really appreciate your flexibility.
Per legal review, LMHA can cancel the contract with CT Group at any time. They have violated not only their contract with LMHA and state law, but also their leases with the LMHA tenants, saying that they must maintain the sites in good condition. We have documented that CT Group's maintenance staff are now walking to do repairs because the management no longer provides them vehicles. We know that lapses in proper maintenance are rarely the fault of frontline staff and more often the result of ineffective management. We respectfully ask that LMHA maintain all buildings with LMHA bargaining unit maintenance staff. We also ask that LMHA commit to considering all current CT Group maintenance workers for its bargaining position. I have already submitted my statement, but I want to tell you all about what has happened to me since those incidents took place. I moved into my new apartment last month. Since then, I have found mold in my bathroom, both of my bathrooms, and as well as my kitchen. When maintenance came out to fix the leak, they tried to cover it up. I asked for a mold inspection, and Regional Manager Kathy Strong told me that if it came back negative, I would have to pay for the inspection myself. That was weeks ago. I still don't know the results of the mold testing. As a single mother, it's hard enough to get out of public housing without having to endure the treatment that we experienced by the CT Group. The mistreatment, the harassment, the invasion of privacy, and the lack of maintenance. These issues affect our health, our safety, and the lives of our children. Thank you.
Chairwoman, at this time, I'll play 2 videos from residents who could not attend today.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Bronwyn Hudson, and 9 years ago I moved into Liberty Green to downsize, and plus the property was what appeared to be well maintained. Here are issues about the property I want to address. Upon moving in, I was promised my apartment would be power washed. I received a notice from the water company about a fake rock that was covering a water source and wanted to know when they could maintain the source. I took the notices twice to the office, nothing was done. When I moved in, I loved the sprinkler system, which has not worked in years, which is why the water company wanted to maintain the water source. The furnace has not been serviced in years, and I must ask for options for filters. Smoke detectors have expired and need replacement. Doors and windows are filthy. Doors need a nice new color, maybe a darker color, and doors are rotten. Doors and frames are rotten. Hallways and stairways are filthy. At one point, I contacted then council member Barbara Sexton Smith in the past, and only a block of doors were painted. So they would do a little to try to say something has been done, but then it goes right back to nothing being done. They are now trimming bushes, so don't let them fool you. All this took place before COVID, so COVID has nothing to do with this problem. The issues I have stated are not listed in our leases contracts. There is a clause in my lease on page 9 of 33 pages, and I quote, management agrees to A, to maintain the apartment building, the common grounds, the apartment and equipment located in period in good condition and in compliance with the state sanitary code and all other applicable laws, rules, and regulations of agencies of competent jurisdiction. Unquote. I would like to add, management cannot keep management staff, and the staff have left expressing unhappiness with management. We have had some good maintenance workers in the past. The management company responsible for the maintenance contract should end. This is a company from outside our state. Why can't we have SEIU, the union maintenance workers, who are bonded to maintain our property? Also, tenants should not feel intimidated by community management. We also need a caring management that truly are concerned about bringing back and keeping the beauty of Liberty Green that was once Liberty Green. We as a people do not want or need to live like this. We are a community of low-income senior citizens and residents like me who are working and paying the market rate. Projects were torn down and non-projects are coming back. This is terribly sad. I would welcome a visit from council members to have a walk through Liberty Green and not the given areas or units management wants you to see. I appreciate your time and thank you.
Chairwoman, if we have time, I'll play the next video towards the end, but we can go back to our live speakers and chambers now.
Yes.
Chairwoman, we can't hear you.
How many speakers do you have? Do you know?
In total, there are, it looks like 6.
Okay, because I was told it was gonna be 10, and I knew we would run out of time because we have Lisa Osanka to speak in questions and answers, so we can't actually take, 3-4 minutes each. Okay? Okay, the next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Dominique Curtis, and I'm a mother of 4. I've been renting through Louisville Metro Housing Authority since I was 18. I've had multiple issues with my landlord, Cassie Strong. I've had issues at 3 different properties with Louisville Metro Housing Authority. The second property we lived in, Burrytown Apartments, we moved there in April 2021. My family was so excited that my daughter did cartwheels across the living room floor. But shortly after moving in, I was reporting mold issues to management and calling into city code inspectors. The problem started in the apartment aside mine. They had a leaky toilet and the CT group didn't fix it correctly. And before I knew it, I started seeing small black spots of mold in my bathroom. Without support from maintenance, the mold got worse. It covered the floor, the baseboards, and began growing on and in my walls. I had to keep the bathroom door closed to contain the smell. My kids and I were living in mold. I sent pictures and videos of black mold to Miss Kathy and Miss Osanka, but nothing happened. Some of my neighbors were dealing with the same thing, and many of us were getting sick and still are, with no help. The worse the mold got, the sicker we got, until it was no longer safe for me and my kids to stay there. We were forced to leave our apartment and depart from each other. I couldn't believe that nothing was being done about this and about the mold. I didn't even see a work order for the mold in the apartment until late June, but still no major moves were made, and they still didn't fix the problem. It killed me being away from my kids. When my daughter was sick, all I could do was talk to her on the phone. It broke my heart. She should have been next to me. She should have been able to be at home in her bed with me, her mom. At that time, we were sick and we were separated. I was forced to bounce around from place to place, depending on the kindness of my family and my friends, because my apartment was not safe for anyone to be in, including myself. I was at my breaking point, and I still am. By March 2022, I joined the Louisville Tenants Union, and we were able to get my family an emergency transfer. I've only been safe and back with my kids for a few months. But what happened to me and my family shouldn't have to happen to anyone. We, the residents of Louisville Metro Housing, are coming together around to share our struggle with management company CT Group and its regional manager, Ms. Cassie Strong. We are the victims of discrimination and have been forced to live in inhumane living conditions. This has negatively affected our families, our health, and our overall well-being. We can, will, and are helping one another, but we can't do this alone. We need the city to take action. We will not stop until these issues are resolved. Please help us.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Jessica Reese. I'm here with Mark Steiner and Nancy Cavalcante, and we're part of the coordinating team of Louisville Showing Up for Racial Justice. The coordinating team supports Council members Arthur and Purvis's resolution. We support this resolution because we've heard from LMHA tenants who are part of the Louisville Tenants Union and who live in buildings managed by the CT Group. The CT Group is falling down on its obligations to provide quality service and to respect the people they serve. Tenants have described the following issues to us and to you all today. Persistent problems with cockroaches and mold, consistent water leaks leading to water damage, gas leaks, poor insulation, safety concerns, difficulties with basic issues such as lockouts, a squatter living in an empty apartment for weeks, harassment by staff, retaliation for speaking up, parking for people with disabilities being blocked by maintenance vehicles, and many more issues. The concerns and stories that tenants have shared should be unacceptable to all of us in this room. Everyone deserves safe, well-maintained, and affordable housing today.
That's right.
I'll close by saying that housing is a racial justice issue. To be specific, the vast majority of LMHA tenants are Black, including every tenant who has spoken with us. Black women with children and Black seniors are the core of whom LMHA serves. It is difficult and risky for these tenants to speak out about the people who control their homes. We support their organizing to win the housing that they and all of us deserve. Every day that the CT group continues to manage these properties, Louisville is saying that what tenants are going through is fine and that we can't do any better, and neither of those things is true. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Laverne. I've been a resident at Liberty Green for the past 4 years. My chief complaint is CT Group Management Company does not respect their tenants. As a senior woman, I don't feel safe in my home. It is very stressful to live in Liberty Green. I have always requested that I be notified of the date and time maintenance needs to access to my apartment. And for 4 years, it has fallen on deaf ears. In turn, I put a chain lock on my bedroom door so maintenance will not have access to my valuables when they enter my apartment without my acknowledgement. I received a call that they were going to cut my lock off and it needed to be removed. I asked why and was told it was a safety issue. I then asked management, how is it a safety issue when it's only locked when I'm not at home and it's never on while I'm in my home? I told them that it's on so I could feel that my items are safe and secure. The last notice I received was October 10th, this month, and the notice was dated October the 7th, stating that they will be coming in my home from October the 10th to November the 2nd, which is 18 business days, that I have to be on edge, not knowing when they will enter. I am 65 years old and don't need or want this added stress in my life. I don't sleep well, always worry that I have to get up early, extra early, because they will come in at any given time. On the days that I work, I have to get up at 6 a.m., get dressed, just in case they come in at 9, when I don't have to be to work until 12 p.m. On the times they tell us they're coming in without giving us a date or time. Their famous words are, "You don't have to be home. However, I want to be home." If I had a notice of the day and time, I will make it my business to be home, and I would welcome them. I can't call when something is broken and needs fixing for fear they will come into my home when I'm not available, in addition to not fixing the said problem correctly. They mention they won't be responsible for our false alarms when they tell us we have to have them off for 18 days. Are they going to be responsible when someone breaks into our apartments during the time they want us to turn them off? The simple solution is to give us a day and time when they will enter, which I've asked on numerous occasions. They shouldn't be able to dictate when they will come into my home. It is my home where I pay rent. I am the one that should have the say of when you enter, or at least give me ample notice so I can plan for you to enter. 18 days is too long for me to have to be in limbo. I deserve 48-hour notice and a date and time that they will enter. Your Riotheart tenant law states that they need to give us 48-hour notice, which they never do. My son has been asking me to move to Atlanta with him because he too is concerned with my safety and well-being. Why should I have to leave my home that I love? Why should I have to leave my job that I love? All because CT Group doesn't want to do the job they are paid to do. I don't have time to talk about all the maintenance issues, but what I will say, the molding around my carpet came up. I notified the office. They sent an unskilled worker who overlapped the strip, didn't put fillers in the cement holes where the screws came out, so it would stay put. And in a matter of 2 weeks, it came apart. I now live with a pair of weights on top of it and a stool over it so I won't forget it's dangerous and trip over it. We, the residents, that really love living in Liberty Green should no longer be disrespected and stressed and treated like we are second-class citizens. We need to have CT Group replaced with someone that will care for the residents and treat us with respect. We, the residents, want and need to feel safe, secure in our homes. We shouldn't be inconvenienced for 18 days not knowing when they will come in and what time they will enter. Why should I have to get fully dressed for 18 days of my days off when I don't feel like it? Why should I have to leave my alarm off for 18 days? Would anyone on the council stand for that? Would Lisa Osanka be okay with someone coming into her home unannounced at any hour of the day?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Well, if they wouldn't stand for it, then why should we?
That's right.
In closing, I pray the council will make the right decision and get rid of CT Group. And I have pictures of this maintenance problems if anybody wants to see them. Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you. The next speaker.
My name is T.W. Foster. I'm a resident of Liberty Green. Been there for the 9. Robin Marshall, the landlord, was out on the property because the possums and stuff was around the dumpster. The parking. Coming home from work, you have to go around the parking lot 2 or 3 times because the Louisville Tenants students park in our parking lot from 7:30 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening. And the street parking is already full, and they do that to keep from paying the public parking and garage parking. Public parking and garage parking. There's 16 lights. Out of the 16 lights, only 3 work. Out of the 16 lights, only 3 work. Breezeway for 2 years. The lights in the breezeway, where the lights in the breezeway, you have to come up to my apartment, you have to come up to the 3rd floor. The breeze lights and dirt out, been like that for 2.5 years. In my apartment, had a huge hole underneath my sink. Mold was growing everywhere. I contacted them in 2020. A month ago, they just came and fixed it. There was a shooting that took place in the back of the parking lot. Bullet came through my kitchen window, went through my cabinet. Thank God that I wasn't home because it would have injured me the way that the bullet came to my apartment, shot at the whole kitchen window. The kitchen window was not fixed for 3.5 months. They just fixed the window. I have a weak floor by my computer desk. Been complaining about it since 2020. Been calling them for the last 3.5 months. I don't know if there's something in the vent. I don't know if there's some sewage in the apartment complex that is backed up. I've called them multiple times, sent emails, complained down to the Louisville Metro Housing Authority, the Ombudsman, sent complaints to Cassie Chambers-Armstrong, Robin Marshall, all of them. They came into my apartment, turned on the air conditioner for about a minute, left out, contacted me and said that they didn't smell anything. So I have been staying with like family and friends because I don't know what's going on in my apartment. So they did an air quality report, maybe an air quality test, maybe a couple. And so I Cassie Strong, they're in my apartment right now because mold in the cabinet, on top of the microwave, all in the walls, etc. So I'm asking you all, I guarantee you this, that if we are late on rent, about the 6 or 7, we're gonna get an eviction notice. But when we file a complaint to get something fixed, they take 2 to 3 years. And I guarantee you that if you go to any of their houses right now, you won't find mold. I guarantee that they don't have any issue going on in their house with the light bulbs, any of that stuff going on. People in the breezeway, none of that is going on at the rest. So I'm asking you all, Metro Council, put yourself in our position right now and would you tolerate it? So I'm asking you all, from the bottom of your heart, to consider canceling this contract so we can go in a whole new direction.
Y'all know y'all wrong. You can't cancel the contract. Know y'all wrong.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And I also want to just take a minute to thank all the residents for being here. We know it can feel powerless when the people who control your housing are doing you wrong. But you do have power because you have your neighbors, you have other tenants, they have your back, I got your back. And with this resolution, hopefully this committee and the full Metro Council can show that they have your back too. Chairwoman, if you're okay, I'd like to open it up for any questions for the residents before we move on to the Director of the Housing Authority.
Okay, you need, the council members, open up any questions, council
Yes,
members.
ma'am.
Okay. I think I have, Councilwoman Donna Purvis. Or did you want to wait till after Osanka spoke, Donna?
Yes, ma'am, I'd like to ask my question after Ms. Osanka speaks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, I guess we'll call on, Ms. Lisa Osanka. Is she in the chambers?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Get on the same thing. Let's go. This should be good.
Madam Chair, she's at the podium.
Okay. Ms. Osanka, you can go ahead and speak.
All right,
State your name, and speak.
all right, thank you. My name is Lisa Osanka. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisville Metro Housing Authority. Thank you, Dr. Shankman, for having me here today, and all of the members joining virtually, as well as in chambers, as well as, of course, the representatives of the Louisville Tenants Union, as well as the residents here that live at Liberty Green and Shepherd Square and any of our scattered site locations. So thank you for having me here. I'm here to answer questions from the council.
Okay. Are there any questions? I think Councilwoman Purvis, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam Chair. Lisa, thank you for being here today. I know this is very painful to hear these comments from your tenants.
Yeah.
What I'd like to know, and I hope I get an honest answer from you, a sincere answer from you, how does it make you feel to hear what you've heard today?
Thank you, Councilmember Purvis. It does not feel good. It does not feel good. It's.
That's exactly.
That's a contract.
Hello?
Wow.
Are you finished? She finished?
No, I think the sound is off.
No,
Madam Chair, can you hear us in chambers?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I lost everything Ms. Osanka was saying.
She wasn't saying nothing.
I can't hear.
Olivia, this is Sunday. Can you please hold on 1 second and get to my phone?
Okay, sorry about that. Is that better? For the
Yes.
virtual, okay, right, sorry about that. No, to answer your question, Madam Chair, Councilmember Purvis, it does not feel good to hear this. I certainly would appreciate the opportunity to present another point of view. Yes, there are complaints and concerns, and I believe in my review of those complaints and concerns, the ones that I've previously been aware of, there were additional ones that I do not believe I was aware of that have been brought up today. But I would like the opportunity for both my staff and the leadership at the third-party contractor to have an opportunity to review the complaints and concerns, and so that they have an opportunity to respond. I believe a number of the Metro Council members were emailed earlier this morning by a member of that management group there were complaints posted on the Metro Council committee website yesterday, and the management group has already looked at those and reviewed those and responded with their point of view on those this morning. And so I would ask for that same opportunity to present another point of view on those complaints.
So while given the opportunity to review and to do your investigation, these tenants will still be suffering from still be suffering from deficiencies that have not been corrected. Do you think that's fair?
No, what I'm trying to say is that a number of these complaints have already been brought up and responded to.
Just answer the question.
But from what I'm hearing, and I know that there are two sides to every story, what I'm hearing that some of these complaints have been going on for months and for years. Do you have an answer why they have not been responded to? The one lady spoke that some of these things have been taking place since before COVID. So can you tell us why these complaints have gone on so long and what has taken so long to address them? And just let me say this. One is, in my private life before I became a public servant, I'm not a politician, I had a commercial cleaning service, and we provided cleaning services for Louisville Metro Housing Authority. And the time that we provided services, you guys were a no-nonsense entity. We did our job. We didn't have the issues that I'm hearing, but I'm sure that if we did, you all would have found another contractor to provide the services. So I've been hearing things about CT or CTE. Forgive me if I saying their name wrong. For years before I even came on the council. So, I mean, do you think it's fair to keep such a company that is not providing services? I'm sure that's outlined in the contract. And from what it sounds like to me, there's been a lot of contract violations. Do you think that is fair to continue to keep a relationship with this company?
All right. Well, and that's why I would like to address that, Councilman Purvis, specifically with the responses from our review and from CT Management's group's review, because there is another side to the stories.
Councilwoman Purvis, we have about 3 or 4 people, so okay, you can come back once they can.
No, I'm done. I've come to my conclusion, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Arthur.
Thank you. Director Osanka, could you just briefly share with us the differences in training that's required for Metro Housing Authority staff versus privately contracted property management and maintenance staff?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your question. So the training that the Louisville Metro Housing Authority staff get is largely what you would consider an apprentice type of training, where a new employee is instructed by a more experienced employee, and in terms of how we operate and how the different paperwork that's required, or the different work order, that's on the management side, on the maintenance side, on how different work orders are handled. So it really is very much an apprentice style training. We also, as part of the contracts with third-party vendors, if anything, they have stricter requirements in terms of the standards that they must keep, because the large majority of the third-party contractors have additional requirements, whether that's from the low-income housing tax credit through the Kentucky Housing Corporation, whether that's through HOME, whether that's through CDBG or other entities that also have specific requirements that they have.
Are the contractors that you use all subject to open records requests?
So if the Housing Authority as a public agency, if we have records in our possession, then we would be subject to open records request unless there is some type of exclusion. But a third-party vendor that works with us, if we do not have those those documents, those records in our possession, the third-party vendor would not be required to give those to us so that we could then turn around and give them to the requester, no.
Where can the public see a list of Metro Housing and the corresponding private property managers?
So that's a question you gave me previously, and I've got the property management team pulling that together now. The director is out this week, but as soon as she gets back, we'll get that posted to our website.
But currently, the public cannot see that list in its entirety anywhere right now.
No.
Okay. Are you aware of any significant wage differences between public employees and privately contracted employees who do property management and maintenance work?
So as part of the contract, the maintenance workers have a prevailing wage requirement. So the prevailing wages that the housing authority pays to maintenance workers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are different type of wage scales. Those are set with the help of HUD, and then we pass those requirements on to those third-party contractors. So as far as property maintenance workers go, they would have the same prevailing wages.
Okay, just a few more questions, Chairwoman. The Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act, or URALTA, says that landlords are required to give a notice, 48 hours before entering a resident's home. You've heard testimony today. You've probably seen the complaints in the records. I'm curious why LMHA is allowing staff to enter tenants' apartments unannounced.
Yeah, I would love to get the specifics on that so we could see what is happening there. As you know, we do have thousands of tenants, and so answering specifics about any one tenant is what we'd like to focus on. Certainly, we're not perfect, and it can happen, but we understand that we are required under the Landlord and Tenant Act to give proper notice.
HUD had warned, it's like the CT group, about not issuing receipts for payment in 2021. Are you aware of why this is still not happening?
So I would like the opportunity to give you the documentation from LMHA's review of that and CT's review of that, because what's been presented is one point of view.
According to contact with the CT group from LMHA, LMHA can direct the owner to terminate the relationship with the manager if the manager engages in willful misconduct, such as repeated violation of state and local safety laws, or simply a repeated failure to maintain the project in good repairs as required by the contract. If the manager does not rectify the situation in 30 days, we heard about issues that have gone, over the span of years. Could you talk to me about why LMHA has not held this group accountable for the complaints that are brought before us today?
I would disagree that we have not held them accountable.
So you're saying the residents behind you in the record are lying?
I am definitely not saying that. I'm saying that we have a different point of view that we would love to be able to present to you.
Okay, and then just last question, Chairwoman, I'll jump back in the queue. Director, you've talked about canceling or phasing out this private company over the next year or so. When will that be officially announced, and will you work with tenants to be involved in the procurement process for new management?
So thank you for that question. So I think a little background would be appropriate, if that's okay. I'll try to be brief because they are complicated transactions. So right now, the housing authority is not in control of the units at Liberty Green. We are in control of the units at Shepherd Square. So at the units at Liberty Green, those are in low-income housing tax credit partnerships. Those partnerships are controlled by a managing general partner that was the developer of those units starting 15 years ago and a little less. Yesterday at our board meeting, we passed a resolution to acquire the first phase. There are 4 phases at Liberty Green. So our board passed yesterday to acquire that first phase of units back to Housing Authority control. And as part of that, we will be issuing a request for proposals for property management companies to bid on the work at that location. This is a similar process to what we did at Park Duval, which, as you know, is the first Hope 6 program in Louisville. So as those, same developer, different partnerships, but as those 4 partnerships came past their tax credit compliance period, the Housing Authority subsequently reacquired all of those units and then also acquired the property manager that manages those units. So in a similar way to what we've done at Park Duval, we will be doing that at Liberty Green. That first phase should close before the end of the year. Phase 2, we should have back in our control by the end of next year. And phases 3 and 4, we should have back in our control by the end of 2024. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but that's succinctly as I could be.
Thank you, Kim. Are you done, Councilman Parker?
For now, yes.
Councilman Triplett, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lisa, thank you for being with us. Let me ask a question here. Were all of our speakers and all of the testimony today, were all from Liberty Green?
I don't believe so, but
Okay. And that was my next question was, is the CT group specifically working for Liberty Green and elsewhere, some of our other developments such as Duval, Shepherd Square, and so forth?
so they are not engaged at Park Duval. They are engaged at Liberty Green and at Shepherd Square. So in total, it's about 730 units out of the, say, 3,500 that the Housing Authority owns or operates.
Okay, very good. And then just quickly, I like for Councilman Arthur's questions. I think the direction that where he was going. My next one, just very quickly, if we terminated our agreement with and contract with CT, do we have a list of candidates and other options to consider?
So what we have is, what I was trying to explain with at Liberty Green, we would be putting out, and I apologize, I said RFP, but a request for proposals to property management groups. And we do currently, as part of the recruitment of property management groups to bid on this work, we have developed a list of potential property management groups that we will send the proposals out to so that we can get good healthy competition in responding to that request for proposals.
Okay, and just quickly, based on what we've heard and their track record, we do have legal grounds to terminate that contract, do we not?
We do not have legal grounds to terminate the contract.
Very well, that's all I have. Lisa, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Dorsey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lisa, thank you for your time. We've had quite a few conversations back when I was the councilwoman and I had H. Temple Spears and Park Duval. So a couple questions I want to start right in here. Have there been any confirmed cases of mold to your knowledge, yes or no?
Are you saying mold at Liberty Green and Shepherd Square?
Mold period under any of the groups or any of the facilities that CT Group manages?
So mold yes. I think that's, yes. So I'd love to take an opportunity to just explain the mold process of what we would go to look into that. There have been complaints of mold, yes, but they also have been addressed. They are issues that come up all the time, and moisture is something that can contribute to that. But we do regular when complaints are made, testing can be done if a visual inspection warrants it, and that can be addressed.
Thank you. So how, once you have mold in an apartment and it seems as though that is confirmed, what is the follow-up in regard to the residents that have been impacted by the mold? I think I heard a young lady say even her family was separated as a result of that. how does LMHA or CT group intervene if there is a health consequence or subsequently even a family being broken apart as a result of that?
Great. So thank you for that question. So I'll start from the beginning. Just this is speaking generally and not to any specifics that were said today. And so a tenant would make the property management company aware of the concern. A work order would be placed. A worker from the property management group would do a visual inspection to see the complaint, and if it's something that maintenance worker could handle in terms of the cleanup, well, and I should say the first and foremost is stopping whatever the moisture is, because that is, again, the biggest question is how is the mold forming? And so moisture is the number one cause of that. So finding the cause of the leak, whether that is dripping pipes, condensation in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system, the fan not working on a bathroom fan.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I really want to get to what happens once it's confirmed and there is a potential impact to that particular residence in regard to their health.
Yeah, so if the mold can be abated, so if the moisture can be abated, the mold can be abated, then those actions are taken. If it is a larger job than that, then we can do an indoor air quality testing. We do that with a third-party vendor. That third-party vendor comes in, does that testing, and then they do that testing, and then the results of that are available to the tenant. If it is something where a temporary relocation is necessary, then that is handled by the management group. It does not often lead to that, but it is certainly possible, and there's a process for that.
Thank you. My next question in regard to the young lady who spoke about the physical impediments in the apartment in regard to a trip or fall potential. When we look at that, I guess where I'm getting at, and I'm going to be very straightforward here, between, I think I see a pathway here between Councilman Arthur and Councilman Triplett. We say, or I heard you just say that we don't have legal liability, or we don't have legal grounds, to break that contract. Does the potential liability of say a class action suit in regard to health, public safety issues, physical impediments as us being the property owner, does the liability of a potential class action or lawsuit outweigh our culpability in regard to severing this contract, even if we don't have immediate legal grounds, the grounds in which we could potentially be sued as a result of the health impacts and the public safety impacts? Does that outweigh the potential for us to go ahead and sever that contract, even if we don't have legal grounds, just based on the potential legal liability?
So your question has a number of parts to it. I'd like to take two, both of which I believe I've already said, but we'll restate. You have been presented with one side, the complaint only. You have not been presented with the resolution. I would like again to ask for an opportunity to present with those resolutions that have been made. The second is you said as the owner of those buildings, and I will say again, the Louisville Metro Housing Authority is not the owner of those buildings. They are currently in low-income housing tax credit partnerships, and those partnerships are controlled by another entity. So that, I hope that's a better explanation. But
let me ask a better question. Who assumes the legal liability, say, if someone comes up with, because it sounds like there's a bit of a process with, say, for example, the mold, there's an air quality test, all that time a person is living in that residence. Who assumes the liability if there's a long-term health impact as a result of that?
Yeah, you're asking a hypothetical that I'm just not able to answer.
No, I'm asking you a direct question. If there was a class action lawsuit found or drafted, who would assume or who would be listed? I think Louisville Metro government will be listed as one of the, associates to that. So I'm asking, do you know if we would actually be listed? Would we be part of the culpable, parties that would be attributed to any potential liability as a result of a health impact, as a result of the mold or the physical impediments and public safety issues?
So as you know, anyone can sue anyone for anything, right? And I don't mean to make light of that, but if the housing authority were to be sued, then we would defend that suit with more information about the particulars in that hypothetical that you presented.
And that would directly impact Louisville Metro government, correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure if Louisville Metro, are you saying that Louisville Metro government would be a party?
Correct, through LMHA.
So LMHA is a distinct entity from Louisville Metro government.
I understand that, but I'm asking, is there culpability as LMHA to be sued as well as Louisville Metro government? I understand your questions, I'm asking a direct one.
Yeah, so again, Louisville Metro Housing Authority, and maybe the Assistant County Attorney can help answer this, but Louisville Metro Housing Authority is a distinct entity from Louisville Metro government. And so
it does put you as culpability if there was a potential lawsuit found. And what I'm trying to understand is, I understand there are multiple perspectives, but I also understand we've seen this with corrections and other entities. If we allow this to go on, even though that we understand that there may not be legal grounds, we also need to understand that there's also culpability when we allow these public safety and health issues to go unfounded, that we see these come back in multi-million-dollar lawsuits in the city that cost us more money. Madam Clerk, I will relinquish my time. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just getting ready to tell you. Councilwoman Armstrong.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate you being here, Ms. Osanka. I'm going to keep my questions short and would ask, can we agree that you'll keep your answers short so we can make sure we get through everyone in the queue?
I will attempt to. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Osanka, do you take these allegations seriously that you've heard today?
Yes.
And how long have you known that you were going to come and testify here today?
Approximately 4 weeks.
I was going to say that's about how long it's been on my calendar too. Can you explain to us, you keep talking about this other side of the story and wanting to show us the resolutions. If you've known for 4 weeks that you were going to be here today to talk about this issue, why did you not bring that information with you today?
Right. No, I really appreciate the question. So there are privacy laws that the Housing Authority has got to adhere to. And so we do have documentation. We would like to provide it to the Metro Council. Some of that has already been provided. I believe Metro Council member James made an open records request for 2 years of complaints, and we have provided those in that instance. The request was for both complaints and resolutions, and so resolutions were also provided. And so I hope in the review of those, you can see that we have been responding to those complaints with resolutions. But there were a number of things, again, put on the board yesterday that have been already responded to by the management group. It should be in your email, giving another point of view. But again, because of the privacy laws, we would like to ask for a way to present those to you that still keeps the...
And I hear what you're saying, and I recognize where you're coming from. If I took what I was hearing from these folks who have come here today seriously, I would have been spending the past 4 weeks looking into every single one of these complaints and coming here today with information about if it was resolved or not.
Yeah.
And so it's concerning to me that I'm hearing allegations of criminal activity, illegal things happening. And our first speaker, I believe it was Ms. Jones, first thing she said is, I don't feel safe and secure in my housing. And if somebody said that to me, I would have shown up with some answers, with some information. I have a couple of just other questions. I recognize, I hear what you're saying, and I know that
not all the
complaints
today are some new information.
Yep. And I would be very interested in seeing that as soon as possible.
Okay.
Other question, I have just two other questions. You said that you don't believe that you have legal grounds to cancel the contract. I'm assuming that's because you believe that the things you've heard today don't constitute a material breach of that contract. Is that right?
So again, at Liberty Green, where those 4 phases are not owned by the housing authority or an affiliate of the housing authority, yes, that is correct.
Do you believe that a child living in situations with black mold, such that families have to be separated from one another because of potential health impacts, is a material breach of contract?
Yes, I believe that would be.
Okay. So if we found that situation, that we had children living in black mold situations, you believe that that would constitute a material breach of contract that would give you the legal authority to cancel it, is that correct?
Black mold, yes.
Okay.
If not handled timely.
And my very last question I have for you, Ms. Osanka, and then I'll yield my time because I know President James has some documents to chat with you about here. Have you ever spent the night in Liberty Green?
No.
Would you?
Yes.
How long are you willing to commit to spending at Liberty Green?
As long as it takes.
Will you commit here today to living there for 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Great. I look forward to following up with you about those dates. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. President James.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here, Mr. Osanka. I have those complaints and responses about Liberty Green, and I'm listening to your replies, the questions, and I want to follow up on a few, if you don't mind. Councilman Arthur spoke to you about in the past, HUD had provided a response in relationship to CT entering apartments without a 48-hour notice. Is that accurate?
So, and I would hate to, I mean, if you had a specific question, I would love to review the documentation. I'm not sure I can answer just off the cuff of the volume of it's 730 units. So I'm not really sure how to.
So Councilman Arthur asked you about CT entering apartments without the 48-hour notice. And he referenced that CT had this conversation with you and HUD at an earlier time. And you said that that there's another point of view to that. And so I guess what I'm asking you is, what did HUD have to say about that? What was that point of view?
That's why I would love to provide you with that documentation if it's not already in that binder.
I guess then I have to follow up with what Councilman Armstrong just said. If you have that documentation, why would you not come with that, be prepared with that?
It's in that binder. You already have it.
Right, so
but the issues that were raised yesterday have already been responded to, and it should be in your email box.
right. So I guess what I'm saying is we're looking for you to talk about those things, right? The listening audience doesn't have this binder.
Right.
They're listening to you as the director of HUD, right?
Not the director of HUD.
You're the director of the Housing Authority for the City of Louisville, right?
Yes.
And so.
And I think the documentation can speak for itself.
The public doesn't have that. Those citizens there don't have that.
Yes, and we can get that provided with proper redacted copies, yes.
Okay. So I guess what you're saying is you're going to provide that resolution in some form. You'll put it on your website, or somehow they'll be able to see that?
It can be part of the public record for the Metro Council for this ordinance.
So it's okay with you if we put it on?
Yes.
On our documents?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's an open records request, and presumably we've redacted it properly, and it can be.
Okay, all right. Then my next question is, have you had a town hall or anything of that nature with the citizens of Liberty Green so they could directly speak to you?
So town halls have been challenging around COVID, but now that we are in the green zone again, it is something that I would be willing to do.
Okay, thank you. This year?
Yes.
Thank you. And then I guess my other question is a follow-up from Councilman Arthur. When he was asking you about the prevailing wage for maintenance workers, and you responded that eventually you're going to be phasing out CT Group as the maintenance group for Liberty Green. Is that what I understood you to say?
So let me try again. So as part, we do not currently own Liberty Green, the improvements. We still own the land underneath, but we do not own the improvements. Those are in tax credit partnerships. As those tax credit partnerships reach the end of their tax credit compliance periods, then we will be transferring that ownership to LMHA controlled ownership. And as part of that, again, similarly to how we already did at Park Duval, as part of that, the Housing Authority will then use our own procurement processes to issue a request for proposals and then accept those proposals, and then the team will review those proposals and select a property management group.
Are you also saying, and I could be wrong, are you also saying, or I'm saying that you currently don't have the authority because of the current ownership structure to counsel the CT Group?
So at Liberty Green, we are not the managing general partner. So the contract right now is not between us, the Louisville Metro Housing Authority, or an affiliate of the Louisville Metro Housing Authority, and the management group. That is correct.
Okay, and who is the management group?
So it is Clarksdale One Limited Partnership.
And who makes up those partners?
I will turn to the documents. Did bring that? There we go. Clarksdale Rental One Limited Partnership, care of the Community Builders, Inc.
So Community Builders, Inc. technically has the contract with Liberty Green, with CT Group?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you don't have any influence on that contract at all?
So within the contract, there are provisions to exercise for us to inform TCB. We have been in communication with them, and they have also been presented with the information. They also have had the units are inspected by HUD. During COVID, those inspections were not scheduled because of safety concerns, both to the tenants as well as to the contractors, but they did resume those this year. And the scores for all the units at Liberty Green and at Shepherd Square scored in the average of 86 points.
What is passing and failing in those scores?
60 is failing.
Did any of them score below 60?
None.
Did any score between 60 and 70?
No.
Any score between 70 and 80?
No.
Any score between 80 and 90?
Yes, all 86 average.
Anything get to 100?
Did no.
Okay. Then, I guess my next question is related to if you're not in direct control, but the management group is in control of the contract, have they ever...
Managing general partners.
Managing general partners. Has the managing general partners ever received any penalty payments for any, quote, violations of the contract?
The contract doesn't call for penalty payments.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, I would, and I should be careful because it is a several, dozens of pages, but I do not believe that the contract calls for any penalty payments.
It does, so there's no provision if the CT group fails to uphold their end of the deal that there's some sort of payment for not fulfilling part of the contract to the group.
Yeah, I without looking at the contract, but I do not believe so, no.
Okay. And Madam Chair, I'll relinquish my time at this point.
I'm going to ask Councilman Arthur, there's so many questions left unanswered, which would be willing to table. Can we have a special meeting, or you want to go ahead and make a motion to vote, or because there's a lot of unanswered questions, and if you want to have a special meeting, I can do a special meeting next week, and that will give Ms. Osanka more time to bring some, all of her information.
Thank you for asking me that. I would like to vote, and I want to remind committee members that section 1 of this resolution reads that we want LMHA to cancel the contract at LMHA's earliest lawful opportunity. So for any committee member concerned about if this is legal, our resolution tells them to cancel the contract when it is legal. That is what council would be calling on them to do. You've heard directly from residents. We did not have time to get into all of the allegations of retaliation on residents who are simply just trying to live better. But I hope that you'll stand with residents today and support this resolution for them to have better housing conditions.
Well, so far, everyone has spoken they wanted to accept Councilwoman Bowens. So we're going to allow her to speak, and then we're going to go on and vote. Councilwoman Bowens.
Thank you, Ms. Shakin. I have a question. You're the communication source between the tenants and CT group, correct?
I'm the communication source.
As far as them giving their complaints and everything?
Not directly. So typically what happens in the landlord-tenant relationship, if a tenant has an issue with their unit, they notify their landlord, in this case the property management group, and a work order is placed. And then that work order is handled routinely. If the tenant does not feel like they have gotten resolution, we do have a public housing ombudsman who can take that complaint and then make sure that the management group addresses the open issues. And so that's the documentation that I believe we've already provided to Councilmember James, that we would like to enter into to provide to you to give that different point of view.
Okay, because I know you said there's a second, there's a two-part side of this. Someone's not here to tell the whole thing. But you're hearing these concerns, and what President James has is pretty much a large binder. Wouldn't that set up an alarm to you, that red flag that this group is doing something that we need to pay close attention to?
So I think the size of the binder is again, the documentation is such that there will be an email, right? And so then that email is forwarded, but sometimes it's just, so in terms of the numbers, and I want to make sure I've got this right, because it is an excellent question. We've talked about we haven't talked about I'll be very quick. Half of the complaints that have been received in there, maybe not that binder, but half of the complaints about this management group are about the scattered site component, which they no longer manage. So a fifth of the units that they managed had more than half the complaints. So they are no longer managing those units. The housing authority is managing those units. At Liberty Green, a third of those complaints are at Liberty Green, even though Liberty Green is 50% of the units. And a fifth of the complaints are about Shepherd Square, even though they're a third of the units in question. And so there is absolutely a disconnect between the complaints and the locations and the number of units.
Okay, and then the site that they're no longer managing, those complaints, are they consistent with the complaints that you're receiving now from the place that they are managing?
No, not the scale at all, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I give you the last question, Councilman Arthur, I had one comment I wanted to make. And I want to know, we've talked about a little bit of everything, who's over it, whatever. My thoughts are, how long is it going to take you to get these things fixed? I know I've heard somebody say it's been a couple of years, some say 3 months. How long, just tell us the truth, how long is it going to take to get all of these complaints done? That's our concern.
To get you the documentation that many.
Not the documentation, I want to see how long it's going to be before they go in there and do the work, the actual work.
Well, that's what the documentation would show you, is that the work has already been done at the vast majority of these open issues.
So everybody in there, all the people in there are not telling the truth.
I definitely would not want to say that or imply that at all, but I would like the opportunity to review the issues that were raised, because some of them are new to me, and to provide the documentation from the management group that they've been handled.
We might have to call you back pretty soon, Councilman Arthur.
Thank you. Just want to clarify something real quick. Director, you've talked about another point of view a lot during this committee. And at the same time, you've also talked about a resolution that your board passed to phase out the CT group. Is that correct?
No, the resolution that the board passed yesterday was for transferring the ownership of Clarksdale 1, which is the first of 4 phases. As part of that transfer of ownership of Clarksdale 1, we will also, the Housing Authority will put out a request for proposals for property management groups. And then we will evaluate those responses in selecting a management group.
So you are actively looking to replace them?
We are, it is not about replacing them. It is what we have done at Park Duval and what we are going to do at Liberty Green.
But after you get those proposals in, they would technically replace the CT group? It's a request for proposals, and we are required to allow free and fair competition, and so any property management group that wanted to bid could bid.
Excuse me, I hate to cut in on you, Councilman Arthur. I just want to know, will CT group be allowed to bid again?
They will. The procurement rules are such that we have to allow vendors to bid.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we got that on record, that you are opening it up for proposals. They could get replaced. I know you don't want to admit to that. And that our resolution is supportive of someone else managing these sites. Thank you so much.
Mr. Councilman Arthur, are we ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
This is a resolution allowing for a voice vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none, this item will be sent to the consent calendar. Saying that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's meet outside. Let's go outside.
Thank you.